welcome to another episode of Your Opinion on Make TV. Sometimes you would like to wonder if children are really liabilities or assets. Why do people train children? You would like to know more? Please come along with us. Keep watching. Welcome, viewers. We're going to be taking this discussion: are children assets or liabilities? And on this show today, I have Jesus, Sofumi, and Moses. It's not complete if I don't have UBA. Moses, UBA. Welcome, guys,
Thank you.
on the show today. I'm always glad to have you here. You ginger my swags, guy. All right, thanks so much. Guys, if you like what we do here, why not subscribe? It's important to subscribe so you can get our videos as we upload them. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe. And I say subscribe, 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 and also like and share. After the show today, we'd like to have your comments, what you feel about this topic, your opinion. And that's why we called it Your Opinion. We want you to slide down to the comment section and drop in your comments. Thank you. So we go into what we have today: are children liabilities or assets? Children are blessings from God. Right? So it now depends on how they come. If you're not prepared to have a child and it just comes, the child may be a liability. Okay, guys, in what ways can a child be a liability? Maybe we should look at it from both sides of the coin. In what ways can a child be a liability? Remember, children are supposed to be blessings from God. So, how can they be liabilities?
Mm. Children. Children are, if I should take it from my own perspective, my own way of life, children are not really actually to be called assets or liability because this is a life. This is a life and not, a commodity, not a business, not a car, not a company. This is a life. Now, why we can refer to them as either a liability or a commodity, because our mindset now is like, okay, I've invested so much in this child, which is not actually an investment, it is a responsibility. It is us, it is the parent's responsibility to take care of this child to a certain level in life and let just like birds, they will train the child, feed the child, and just like eagles here, after they've trained the chick and everything, they will destroy the nets so that they will fly on their own, be free on their own. So if they want to come back, they will come back to their mother. That's if they want to. Now, back to us because of morals and everything we've been taught in church and in life. These children, once they're okay, we've given them education and everything of life, and at the end of the day, he's a drug addict. He has nothing to show for. You can't return the love and the care your parents give to you. You are to them a liability automatically, because all the investment and everything they've given to you is just like a waste. For more than 20-25 years, they've been catering for you, nurturing you, teaching you well, giving you everything you need, and at the end of the day, nothing. So they can be called liability.
From my own perspective, I feel a child, regardless of having the child being a being, a human being or not, I feel a child can be a liability and also an asset, in the sense that while the child is growing, the condition the parent that brought the child was in, looking at the angle of probably a single mom that
Mm-hmm.
got pregnant in a condition that was not favorable to her, and probably due to religious reasons she's like, I could my family doesn't want me to abort this child, and so I have to have the child. And then she gives birth to this child, and she's unable to take care of the child. She doesn't have the financial means. Emotionally, she herself, she's also a child. Take for instance, maybe like a 18 or 19-year-old lady
Giving
giving
birth.
birth to a kid. So indirectly or directly, that child to her is a liability,
Mm.
because she doesn't have the means to take care of the child. Or looking at um maybe a stable family. Okay, I'm praying to God, God give me a child, but I am this particular family is just like an average family. We are not so rich like that. And then the child comes, and maybe the child is disabled,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe the child is this kind of person that falls sick, is a sick like SS. You know, you have to spend money and money and money, and then you start thinking, God, what kind of child is this? So indirectly, that child is like a
A
liability
liability
to
to the
that parent.
parents.
Do you understand?
But
And
at that point, it is not the fault of the child.
I think I
Yeah,
agree
I
with
agree with
what she
her.
is trying to say,
Yes.
that we know that children are blessings from God. There are even people looking for it that don't get it. But
definitely.
here are some people who are not looking for it, it just comes. So if a child, the coming of a child is not well planned, it becomes a liability. Like she said, a teenager got
Giving
pregnant,
birth.
got pregnant, right? And at that point, the parents are still struggling to take care of that
Yeah.
Of
teenager.
that
Then
teenager.
here you are
Bringing another.
Child.
bringing another child into it, a load. Then another thing that can make a child a liability if is the child has health problem or defects. Health problem or defects like a child having a disease and all that, and the parents have to be taking him from one hospital
Sweet
or
to
the
another.
other. The child can become a liability, or a child that is an imbecile. A child that cannot do anything on his own. Children that have all these uncommon syndromes,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Those children that
Special.
cannot, a child that's around 3 years, 4 years, 5 years,
Can't
six,
walk
cannot walk,
Mm-hmm.
cannot do anything on
on his
his
own.
own, is a liability for that moment. But that doesn't mean that we can say outrightly that children are liabilities.
Liabilities.
It
No.
depends on the situation. We were once all children. We are
Yes.
children of somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and still growing. Then what happens is that your parents, after investing in you, there are some returns that need to be given to them. If as at time, if as at the time you were supposed to be giving returns to them,
You are
and
still.
that you are
Your
still even struggling,
liability.
you cannot take care of
Yeah.
yourself.
Mm.
I think the main reasons parents take care of children is first for the children to be independent,
Number one.
and second for them to be able to take care of them in their
Their
old
own
age,
age.
because by the time they are old they may not be able to take care of themselves, so they need these children to take care of them financially and emotionally and otherwise. So if all this is not in place, at least even if you cannot give back, there are some parents that are okay by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
There are some parents that are okay financially, they are okay. All they need is for their children to be independent themselves. But they are at the point where a child cannot be an independent, it becomes a concern.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes a concern. So when we are talking about liability here, may not necessarily be the financial measurements of it.
Yeah.
You are putting pressure on the mind of those parents. Some parents start getting high blood
High
Blood
blood
pressure,
pressure.
blood
pressure.
pressure
Yes.
over their
For sure.
children because they are not doing what they are supposed to do
Mm.
at the right time. Take,
Mm-hmm.
for instance, your child is 30, 35, is not
He's
married.
not married.
It
He's
begins to
not
give you
working.
concern.
Worry.
It's a burden. So anything that is a burden can also be a liability. We are not saying that children are for financial gain,
Yes.
but in the real sense, something you have invested in, you expect returns.
Returns.
Yes,
Just
you may
like when
not
you're
be
sowing
you
and
may
you're
not be
reaping.
breeding these children to make money,
Mm.
but the law of nature shows that when you sow,
You
Mm-hmm.
reap.
Just like
you
this Yoruba
reap.
adage that says, Omola show.
Yes, you reap. You reap. So, and it is the child that is bringing profit home
Mm-hmm.
that will bring fulfillment to the heart of the parents.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they doing all this? Sometimes you see, some parents don't have this means. They have to go extra mile, taking loans, doing odd
Yes.
jobs to ensure that they feed. What are they doing that for? It's not for the moment.
Mm-mm.
It's
For the future.
for the future.
Yes.
Then another reason why a child will be a liability if the parent did not give proper training.
Yes.
You see,
Very
there are
true.
some parents that have this wherewithal, they have the cash. They can make everything available for the child, but forgetting the moral aspect,
Mm-hmm.
forgetting about the intentional training of hard work, of etiquette, of respect,
Mm.
all right, of sincerity, of honesty, all right. So if all these investments, that's part of his investment.
Yes.
If
Mm-hmm.
all this investment is not put
The
in that
child.
child right from childhood, that child becomes a liability. Because what do you expect from that kind of child? The child becomes a drug addict,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
starts sleeping out,
The kidnapper.
becomes a kidnapper, right? Start smoking around, refusing to work.
Mm-hmm.
Now the problem now is not that there is no work; it's refusing to work.
Refusing to
All
work.
he wants to enjoy daddy's money, carry, take different kind of girls, bring them home, runs parties
Here and there.
here and there. Doesn't really want to sit down
Nothing.
yes, to do anything for himself. So
Mm.
that kind of child is a liability.
Liability. Yes.
So
Yes.
liability is not only in terms of money
Even
or
in terms
finance.
of education,
Okay.
there are some child that now this voice back to the parents now.
Mm.
When the parents don't provide proper education for your child, for the children,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't do well in school and you say good for nothing, big head, that these mates that are doing this and that. But you on your own part, you did not provide textbooks. You know, when the child wants to read, that's the time you say, no, go and get this for me. Go and go and hawk this for me. So you see now it's a two-way thing. And the part of the child and also on the part of the parents.
Mm-hmm.
Because what you sow, what we rightly said, what you said earlier, is what you reap.
Mm-hmm.
So if you sow filthiness, you will get filthiness.
Mm-hmm.
That's the truth. So if your parents now they don't provide books for you to read, they don't allow you okay, you don't have an hour for yourself to read, to study. The child will be a dollar and drop out from school. Might come out with pass or F in school. And you say, it's a waste to the society. So it's another part of it.
Okay, so I
Mm-hmm.
feel this issue also can also be a two-way thing. A parent can instill good morals in a child.
Okay.
But this particular child maybe goes to a boarding school and then gets influenced by peer pressure and then turns out to be something else in the
Mm-hmm.
community. Do you understand? So that kind of situation, that child also can also be a liability
It's a liability
to
straight
the
up.
parents. But that doesn't mean that the parent did not
Did not
train the
train.
child. The child
Yes.
just got influenced by peer pressure. So that's another um, thing that the parents should also take note of. You have to, it's not like monitor, but you have to know what your child is doing. Let your child
No
build this closeness
close
with you.
relationship.
Mommy, this person told me this. Daddy, this person told me this. Is this true? Is that true? You have to build that rapport,
Mm.
that relationship with your child. So no peer pressure will be able to like take your child away from you.
That's the truth.
What you sow
Yeah,
is what you reap.
Direct.
If a child, definitely, if a child doesn't get employment, it becomes a liability because after many years of school or schooling and not being able to get a job is still a liability because at that time he's expected that after many years of wasting money after many years of investing money
Investing
in
money,
his
not wasting.
education, he should be able to give back
Yes.
at that point in
In time.
time. Then, as a parent, when you are investing, you also have to be a wise investor.
Mm-hmm.
Invest skills.
Yes,
Invest
not
in
only education.
skills, not only in education. Now, what is the value of education that cannot produce?
Mm.
So you will not complain that something you will not complain that the child isn't doing anything if you fail to know that this is the situation of the world, this is the situation
Of
of
the
the
country.
country, and you fail to
Yeah.
invest in skills.
Skills.
So while investing, you invest wisely. You don't invest in every individual that comes to your way. Oh, this is what is trending now. Just come and invest. No.
Investing. No.
Investors invest wisely. So if
They
you
know
don't
why they are
invest
investing.
wisely on your child, the child may become a liability tomorrow. If all you gave to him is just education, in fact, put him in the most expensive university in the world. If you don't look at the area of character and skill, it may boomerang later.
Yes.
So you have to invest wisely in your child. Give them a total package. Not just I want you to go to school, just go to school, and that's that. We have some parents who like to reap where they don't sow,
Yes.
because they believe that my child grows up, he has to give me money. Like the issue of that 27-year-old who banned her father from
Yes.
our wedding.
My wedding.
This man has never been there. It's never been there. Just came. The
For-
child is growing up. My father, she has to do this.
Doing
He has
this
to
and
do.
that.
You have to give me money. You have to. It doesn't work that way. And then who says, as a parent, you have to collect money from them? Who says you cannot have your own money?
Your
Yes.
own money.
Who says you cannot have your own money? Who says you have to wait for children?
You see,
Just
even
like-
when,
A wise man will leave inheritance.
everything,
for
that's
his
what I want to
children.
even
So
say.
whatever they are given to you, whatever they are given to you is just like, okay, an addition. Okay, my children, just like giving a rich man gifts. He's happy. Everybody is happy
Yes.
with gifts.
Yes.
So that's how it should be. Not that unless they give, you cannot
You
survive.
survive.
You will not eat. You will not do
You're not working
anything.
well for yourself.
No, life should not be like that. Children are blessing, and of course, many of us are children. Buhari today is a child. He's somebody's child.
Yes.
He was a child.
Yes.
Dangote was somebody's child. And today, he is a blessing.
Hmm.
If his parents look at him, they feel blessed.
Yes.
But the fact that your child is not Dangote doesn't mean it's still not a
Blessing.
blessing.
Yes.
It's still not a blessing. But the fact that you have a child to call your own, you have any need, they come around, they are around you, that is blessing. Anything that makes you happy is a
Blessing.
blessing. But then they can come as a cost sometimes if the child has issues, character issues, character issues, what else? Diseases.
Health
Disease,
issues.
health issues, thank you.
disabilities.
Health issues and disabilities that keep making you to spend and spend and spend, and
Destroy
eventually the child may even die. Okay, if you
Yeah.
have a
And now
child that has
wasted.
sickle cell,
Ah.
if you have if you have a child that has sickle cell,
It's
that's
not-
another big. That's
It's not,
another
it's not
big
the
risk.
fault of the child, it's the
Uh,
parents.
Then there are some that actually they live longer.
Yes, there are
They-
some.
so-
But you have to buy
There are
drugs
some of
and
these
everything.
children that at the end of the day, after expending such on them, they become cultists. What blessing is in there if your child joins cultism? If your child joins cult members, you become a cult. So what do you gain from that? The child only labors and labors, and the parents only
labors
labor and
and at the end
labor,
of the day-
heartache,
becomes
and
a drug addict and then ends up in a psychiatric home.
yes.
That's
That's a
that's
liability.
wasted.
Anything putting burden on your mind is a liability. But whatever way we look at it, children are meant to be a blessing. It doesn't matter the way you have that child. Even if you are that child out of wedlock as a teenager, it is meant to be a blessing. The fact that it came, mind you, there are some people crying and praying to have the
Begging
children,
and-
and they don't. they don't have it. They have done all the good artificial insemination, done VVF, done everything. So everything is not working for them. So for the fact that you have that child is a blessing. So it now determine on how you want to invest that child. So the investment you put in that child will now determine if it's going to be a liability or an asset to you. Now, an asset in this case, not like property, but something you can look at and smile. And smile. So if you are a sex worker, a child can be a liability to you. The only reason a child can be a liability to a person is if you're a sex worker and you get pregnant and you feel this child is not allowing you to do your business. And it's something that should be prepared for. You know that when you want to have child, your life must be affected in a way. It's just it. Your work has to stop at some point. Your business has to stop at some point. So this is not even really a liability. It's part of the things you have to put into it. As a woman, your emotion, your everything, your hormones goes into having a child. So it is just a natural process what must happen. So children are naturally are blessings, but your approach, the investment you put into them will determine if the child will be an asset or a liability. Because nothing just happens. People make them happen. So what you thank you. You have to plan. So it's what you plan. Yes, if you don't plan, if you fail to plan, like they say, you plan to fail. If you don't plan, you fail. I don't know how it's
you were correct before.
Okay.
You plan to fail.
You plan to fail. That's just what you are
You're doing.
You are unintentionally doing. For me, children are blessing. I love kids. But that doesn't mean when they come, they won't interrupt the program of your life. They interrupt. If you are in school, you get pregnant, you know that school, you cannot combine that together. You're working, you are giving birth. So these things have to do. Okay, if I'm working, I'm going to be pregnant for so time. I will be on leave for so time. This, so I have to plan it. So the major reason why people see them as liabilities is lack of planning. People just come together, feel pregnancy comes through, and sometimes they start having a transfer of aggression to the child, beat the child. It's not the child's fault. You only call the child by what you did, and the child came.
Yes.
So a child is not a liability. It's only a liability when you make it a liability yourself by not planning. And sometimes, even though some of those health issues are
not really their fault.
Are inadvertent or are just natural.
From the
parents. Sometimes it is caused by the parents because of the drugs they take, because of the things they take, because of the drugs they take, maybe in the process of trying to abort the child or things like that. Then blood problems and so many things can give rise. They're not eating balanced diet. Then not marrying the right genotype, marry the right genotype combination. You are even the one putting the child now in pain. The child is not even the child is not even the liability now. You are the one putting the child through the pain because you did not plan well and you didn't do what you were supposed to do.
You don't have to bring religion to everything. God will do it. You get married as
God will change my genotype.
Faith without work. God will change it.
God will change the genotype.
God will change.
God has done it before. He will do it again.
God is a God of principles. He has given us brain so that he can rest. Yes, He has given you. So whatever you plant is what you get. You cannot plant tomato and expect ladyfinger or onion. No, it's not going to work that way. You have to be intentional about the outcome you want. So before you get a child, before you get pregnant, plan it. How do I want to raise those children? What kind of life, what kind of children do I want them to be? You plan them and become intentional about them. So I think we're still on the same page.
We
They
are.
are not. They are not liabilities, but they can
They can be
become
liabilities.
liabilities because of the way that we raise them, and if we don't plan to
Yes.
raise them intentionally. All right, thank you, viewers. We have been talking about the topic: are children liabilities or assets? Because depending on the way you raise them, they can either be liability or assets. What's your take on this topic? Are children liabilities or are they assets? Please let's have your comments in the comment section there. Please, you should like so that you have our videos as we upload them. If this is what you like, and I'm sure you like what we do, see you again next time. Thank you, guys, for
Thank you.
coming on the show.
Thank you.